You're listening to the Sunday Aftermath on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
Very good morning, James Sully Sullivan.
Hello, Marty. Hello, Brad. I tell you what.
Hello, Sully.
I did like Brad's mate's nickname. I had a couple of mates. I used to call them Skinful too.
Okay. Now, Kevin, you would have been able to find a hamburger joint on the way home. Tell us where yours was.
Oh, mate, we used to go in Leeton. We used to go to the cafe, the Carlton Cafe. That was the one at Leeton. That's where I grew up, and, yeah, that was a good one. But, yeah, no, good memories, isn't it, when you think about it?
Oh, yeah. Suey's chimed in. Alfred's at Guildford, that's it. Good on you, Suey. 0427 789 571. If you've got a few more, just let us know. All right, let's talk NRL and the Rabbitohs. They're going along nicely at the moment.
Yeah, 14-0 victory over the Sea Eagles in horrible conditions, let's be honest. The weather in Sydney over the weekend's been unbelievable. But, yeah, they did enough. I think I read this morning that it's the first time they've kept a team scoreless since 1949. So, be interesting. But, yeah, and with Mitchell and Murray out, as we know, 4 in a row for the Rabbitohs. I still don't think they can make the finals, boys, but, geez, they can stir some sides up on the way. And the Sea Eagles was one of them. So, yeah, good win.
Well, back to Friday. We'll talk about the Kenny Canada special shortly, but the Dolphins are the same as the Kangaroos last night in the AFL. They just ran out of time, apparently.
Mate, what an exciting game of footy. The strip at the end, the one-on-one strip at the end, and anything could have happened. And I spoke to Marty and Seb on Friday, and I thought this game had everything we said on Friday, it turned out to be. It was a wonderful game of footy. Both teams just throwing the ball around, and 1-12 again for this Melbourne Storm. I reckon it's at least 6 or 7 games this year they've won in that period. They're just doing what they've got to do. And, mate, the bottom line, it banks up points, doesn't it? And the back end of the year, when they get all their cattle back, and there's no need to rush them all back at the same time. But Pappenhausen came back, scored a try, the first try for the Storm as he's done. It was just good to see him back in the footy. He's that kid that I just love seeing playing footy.
Gee, you're a bit unlucky too. You went Pap first try scorer. He was second try scorer. But it was a terrific game. So and it was Dolphins who led, wasn't it? They were leading 6-0, then 12-6, and that was Storm bridging the gap. And then late in the game, Storm got ahead, and they were just able to control the clock over the concluding stages.
They were, and as you said, it was 18 all at half time. And the big thing I'm really enjoying, and you just watch these kids, and Brad, you're there in Melbourne, and you watch these young boys just develop. This Tyron Wishart, now they've had to put him into the halves, into the 5'8" spot with no Munster there, and he's got Jerome Hughes, how good's Jerome Hughes? He's just the general, isn't he? But he leads them. But all of a sudden, this Tyron Wishart has become this dominant player. And he, as you just said, Marty, controlling the game when it needed to happen. And that's exactly what he did on the weekend. Yeah, that's as you said, the Dolphins, geez, they're good to watch too. And we knew there'd be some points scored. So, yeah, shapes up beautifully the back end of the year, in particular the Dolphins with their visit to WA.
Well, come on, give us your Kenny Canada special. The Titans versus the Warriors.
Fair dinkum. I tell you what. I said to the boys, it's 66-1. I said to Marty a couple of weeks ago, I said to Marty a couple of weeks ago that the Rabbitohs hadn't lost at the Gold Coast for something like 8 or 9 years, because I think the coach would say to them, right, boys, we're not going out unless we win. The Warriors, they'd be used to the hotel rooms, because that's the 5th win. That's the 5th win in the last 6 games that the Warriors have been towed up. The Titans, isn't it funny sometimes when you get the wood on teams, and that's what we forgot to mention about that Dolphins Storm game. That's the 12th win in a row Craig Bellamy's had over Wayne Bennett coach. So
yeah, you said, yep.
Yeah, there was 11 on the week up when we spoke. That's the 12th win. That's unbelievable. But this Titans, where's this been all year? Khan Pereira grabs 4. They just strayed the footy around. You know what they did? They threw the footy around like that. Let's just go and have some fun. And this Warriors side, that's a real smack in the teeth for them. That's a big hiccup going. For, when you're looking at the 8 now where they sit on the ladder, that's a scary time for them. But Yeah, the Titans, whatever Desi said, keep saying it every week.
Desi. The Roosters 26, Bulldogs 8.
Yeah, did enough, didn't they? Same game, the weather was horrible. You know, it was teeming down in Gosford, but, yeah, they did enough. They led 14-4 at half-time, the Roosters. It's a big win, to be totally honest, because we've seen this Bulldog side up for a while and competing with, you know, those middle sort of sides, but this is a top echelon side, this Roosters. But they had 4 out, don't forget, the Roosters, and the Bulldogs got Burton back. Obviously no Crichton, but, yeah, just did enough and just probably showed the rest of the competition that even with those players out, this Roosters side, if they get all their cattle back, gee whiz, they're going to be hard to beat at the back end of the year.
What have we got to look forward to today, Sully?
Yeah, it's one of those games, Brad. There's only just the one, mate. Campbelltown, you know, that's where the game is. And the West Tigers are awful there. They've lost, 10 in a row there. The Raiders have just got to drive down the road, as we know. But some big outs probably for the West Tigers. It's a shame Justin Olam's been in good nick, but he's not there. And Adam Dewey comes for his first game. He hasn't played an NRL game this year, so he comes back in. But I think the Raiders, you know, we know they've been embarrassed at home the last couple of weeks, but only got about a 2.5-hour bus trip down the road. They went down last night, of course. So Hudson Young, he's been dropped from the New South Wales side. They're at full strength. This is the only game where teams are at full strength. So looking forward to this one. Probably the way I'm going to play, I'm just going to go Jordan Rapana to score a try any time. That's $2.35. I'm expecting the Raiders to win. And we'll do a little same-game combo with Geordie and probably Hudson Young. They're both at $3.20. So Hudson Young, Jordan Rapana, score a try any time. Raiders win, $3.20. Don't mind that play.
Good play. Yeah, I like the sound of that one. Now, Sal, leading into State of Origin 2 on Wednesday night, what's the latest?
Well, yeah, it's building up nicely. We've had a bit of noise and a bit of fun. You know, Madge just lighting the fire. And about time, I nearly said that other word then, but about time we've had a little bit of stirring up. You know, we've had Slater and Fittler working together at Channel 9, so they're besties, you know, all this. But now Madge is just stirring the pot a little bit. Marty, I did that homework that you asked me to do. I said,
yep.
New South Wales have, at the MCG, Brad, are 4-1. So they've played 5 times. They're 4-1. And Marty asked me the scores. So 1994, New South Wales won 14-0. Then we had Queensland in 95, 20-12, Marty. So just watch the common denominator here. New South Wales in 97, it was 15-14. In 2015, 26-18. So there's 8 points. In 2018, 22-12. New South Wales again. That's 10 points. What I said on Friday, I like New South Wales 1-12. I don't think they'll blow them away. But I do like the look of this New South Wales. It's a different side. It's probably more attacking mode, and they have to attack. And as I said, I feel like the Queensland bringing in Kafusi and Capel, it's more of a defensive sort of scenario. So, yeah, but it's a game New South Wales must win, and I think they can.
Okay, well, there'll be plenty of spoken about this game leading into Wednesday night. We'll have another chat on Drive Tuesday night, Sol. Get the latest from you. We'll book you in for that, and then again listen to you on Thursday afterwards, and you give us a review with the boys on the Sports Daily.
Absolutely. Have a sensational Sunday.
Just before you go, can you run through your bets for today again, please?
Yeah, I'm going to go Jordan Rapana, Hudson Young, score a try, Raiders win. You have $3.20 both. I'm going to have a little play there. So
any time try scorer Rapana and Young, Raiders to win, and it's what, $3.25?
$3.20.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Sal. We'll talk on Tuesday.
Hey, boys. Bye-bye now.
Sully.
There is James Sully Sullivan there. How were your footy bets over the weekend? You started off well Friday night.
Been good. Yeah, been good. Yeah, we got it well on Friday night. We got the one up yesterday with the Brisbane Lions. Our boy, Zach Bailey, Brisbane to win and a goal. And he got 20 over 22. So if you wanted to add that again, you could have got there. So we missed on Tom Green because he got beat by Gollan, who had 41, which was hard to swallow. And then last night we played heavily the Kangaroos with the start, Marty, but I thought it would have been a more high-scoring game. Beautiful conditions, but that second quarter was just lamentable by both teams. They didn't hit the scoreboard hardly at all, and that counted against us. But we're back at it again today, I can tell you that.
Retrovision text line's open. What about the Peter Pan in Kalgoorlie, Marty? Yes, that is from Frankie. The Peter Pan was a beauty.
Peter Pan.
Have a listen to this, Brad.
Brain teaser, Crumble Manelli's been squeezed out the back. Brain teaser, Kingsbury Demon and matching motors. Going up Tweak Freak, then Terra County, Sunset Black Hawk, Daddy's Girl, Forget Crumble Manelli, Kingsbury Demon and Tweak Freak. The speedsters are 3 in front of Brain Teaser the outside, the inside I should say, and Kingsbury Demon's going to win. Kingsbury Demon beat Brain Teaser, third's close, Daddy's Girl or Tweak Freak.
Okay, so that was on Friday night, a heat of the winter sprint. Kingsbury Demon all the way from box number 1, fighting win that. And
it was a beauty.
It was a good win, wasn't it? And it was a terrific win into the winter sprint there. And Glen Currie joins us to talk about it now. I'm just getting this desk work. Very good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry about that. I'm just having trouble with the desk. It's all over the shop this morning, or I am, one of the two.
He's got fat fingers, Glenn. Don't worry about that. He's got fat fingers.
How are you, Glenn? That was a good fighting win on Friday night?
Very good, yeah.
That was a ripper, obviously drawn. Sorry, Glenn.
Yeah.
I was going to say, drawing the rail is slow to begin.
Yeah, we didn't expect to beat Crumble Manelli. Douglas won 600,000, but we thought he'd run a bit of a race.
And he did that, that's for sure. Is he normally a better beginner than that? He sort of took half a step back. So did Crumble Manelli, but it didn't recover, but you did. Yeah,
no, he's not normally, he's pretty reliable. We've only had him for a few months, but no, he's going to come on okay, I think.
So tell us the backstory about getting hold of this greyhound.
We buy them and we race a few for some people called Northfields in Casino in northern New South Wales. They've had dogs of the family up there for probably 100 years. And we've had association with them for probably 6 or 7 years now.
Okay, so that was what, his fifth run over here?
Yeah, his fifth run, yeah.
Fifth run. And yeah. Have we had the box draw for the final of this winter sprint?
Yeah, we've drawn box 4. It's a bit of in the middle, which is not the best, but anyway, we're in it.
Glennie, as you say, he was a little bit slow to begin, but he showed good mid-race speed to get underneath. But he used plenty of the track coming off the top course. Yeah. I thought he was going to wobble off the course.
He raced it. That his mother was a wide runner as well, and they run probably 3 or 4 off the fence. But at Mandurah, it's probably not that bad.
What do you mean by that?
Well, they seem to keep their momentum if they're out a little bit off the fence.
Okay.
Especially, you'll see a lot of dogs there. They'll the last 10 to 15 metres, they seem to be able to pick the dogs up on the rail.
It is a bit strange, though, when you have a look at that finish up the straight, you've got 1 and 8 fighting it out, and 8's on the inside of 1, and you sort of think, how did that happen?
Yeah. That's how it happens. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so let's expand on your relationship with the owners from over east. What other greys have you got off them, and have you had good success with them?
Yes, we have. Yeah, the original dog was a dog called Kingsbury Peter, and he won 7 or 8 races here. And then we've had a fair few. The recent one we had. We've sold her on since was Kingsbury Extra, yeah, and she got up with us, and she won 5 races fairly quick, and she's only a 300-metre dog, so we thought we're looking for something to go a bit further.
Glenn, having watched the odd 1 or 2 races at Casino myself, I think it's a tight turning track. Do you think they're going to appreciate the wider expanses of Mandurah, some of these dogs coming across from NSW?
Yeah, I think, that teaches them well. It's, they're on one leg all the way around that casino, and it sort of teaches them to rail and race. But in saying that, this bloke runs middle of the track, but that's just the way. But and it's not an easy run either. Like, it's a casino there. You've got to get near the front pretty quick, otherwise you're in trouble.
Hey, Glenn, so this greyhound, he's a bit of a winner, 12 from, well, now what is he? He'd be 13 from 35, but he hadn't won for 7 runs before Friday night. So what did you do to turn him back on? The 5 runs we've had is mainly up until Friday night was just getting him fit, because he'd had a fair while off before he came, and he was quite a handy dog over there. He'd won at Wentworth Park a couple of times in pretty good time, and it was just a matter of getting his fitness up. He had I think it was about September last year. He hurt his shoulder at Wentworth Park, and he had nearly 6 months off, and then it's been a long journey back for him, but he's coming good. So to get these greys fit, and I know very little about training greyhounds, is it you gallop them, or do you walk them a lot, or do you swim them? How do you get them fit?
Oh, there's many ways around doing it. Just everyone's got their own different ideas. We got a property up at Wundowie, and we've got a straight track, and we've got work runs where they compete against each other in the 60-metre runs, and there's but mainly galloping is the best if you can do it. But in saying that, we've got some friends in the east that live close to the ocean, and they swim them and they have good success as well.
All right, so Kingsbury Demon, we wish you all the best in the Winter Sprint Final. Friday night you come up with box draw 4. Just from the 4, have you done the sort of speed map around it? Does it look like there's a lot of speed inside of him?
Yeah, all of the paces on 3-2-1. I think the hobby dogs are going to be hard to beat as usual.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Can he win if he doesn't lead?
Yes, he can come from behind. Yeah. But he's got to improve a little bit to get up to one of the hobby dogs. Went I think 22-15 or something. I think at the moment, he could probably run around the 30 mark. So he might have to throw a lasso around the leader.
try and get a toe into the race.
Exactly.
Hey, Glenn, always good to talk greyhound racing every Sunday morning. Thanks for coming on the program, and all the best on Friday.
Thanks very much.
Glen Currie with Kingsbury Demon, and a good price winner too there on Friday night.
Cool, I'll say.
Bustling.
Yeah, I think even our great caller, I think he was a little bit surprised, as you were, Marty, to see the 1 on the 8 fighting it out.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Now, Robert's listening in from Hobart. Quick one before we take a break. I think this
Bob.
is Bob from Hobart.
Bob Hobart.
Said, Marty, what do you mean North Melbourne were robbed? They had 27 to 24 free kicks. Oh, Bob. It's not about the free kicks. It'd be more about the ones that weren't paid. But I'll rattle off. I'll rattle off a couple to you. You got Stephen, mate. Now, is he going to get fined for that? The fake?
Look, I think they'll certainly be called to attention. Yes.
Faker May. That was a shocker, right?
Yeah.
So what was that, about 35-40 out? Should have been a free kick holding the ball, and then he gets one for a dangerous tackle. Stop it. Salem, he just done the flop.
Draper.
Yeah, the Draper flop over the ball. Don't pay that one. And they go down, I think they went down and got a goal off that. That was a shot on goal from 35. What about that good player, the young fella, took the mark, and in the background you got the 2 ruckmen wrestling each other.
Was it? Yep.
Yeah, and that would have been a shot at goal from 20 metres out.
When Gollan and Co were having a wrestle, both at each other, and they both fell to the ground, and Gollan got the free kick. That was a dead set certainty goal, that one there. But I think they would like their time over again. That last play,
I know,
should have He should have called LDU, as they call him now, out of that one. He would have got the safest of chess marks. 35 out directly in front.
100%. And Larky did have an absolute Barry Crocker. Couldn't find it. We need to take a break. We've got plenty to talk about on the Aftermath coming up.
The Aftermath, every Sunday morning from 6 o'clock on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
Oh, yes, and joining us is Chris Nelson. He was partying at Ipswich yesterday. I saw him in a couple of those grabs on Sky One. How's the head today, Chris?
Yeah, that was me getting crowd surfed and bounced around in the mosh pit, Marty, for sure. I'm a bit past that now, but
I knew. I worked it out because you go on holidays after today, so you said, I'm going out with a bang.
Yeah, guys, if I got involved in any of that stuff, Marty, it'd take me 3 weeks to get over it.
What is it with Ipswich? It must be the party capital of the world, is it? They all go bonkers there.
Yeah, Bundamba, you're right, Brad. They just cut loose. Whenever they can get a chance to cut loose in Ippy, they do. And when they get a day like that, well, they're not going to leave anything in the locker, that's for sure. And, yeah, they certainly enjoy themselves right up until probably well into the midnight hours, but at least when it gets dark, because I think some of the music and stuff still rolls on. So someone used to say the hardest part of Ipswich Cup Day was getting out and getting home.
Well, on a lighter note, Chris, what about the old Bundamba? I mean, that finish line, wasn't it something to behold back in the day? They've straightened it up now, Marty, but I tell you what, you think you won by a long neck and you've been beaten. It was unbelievable.
You've been beaten. Yeah. There's still a few tracks up here like that, I can tell you, but at least they fixed that one.
Many years ago, Kalgoorlie was like that. Back when we grew up, you'd have to tack on a long neck to ink out wide.
You go back and look at the old days of Eagle Farm. I'm talking about the fine cotton race even, and that's way out too. You can't tell if won or lost.
Well, race 6 yesterday, that caught me out because I thought Hedge would be back in the field, maybe not necessarily in the ruck, but he needed clear running. But that was a bit of a turn up for the books. Did they display that they were going to go forward?
No, they didn't. And I was with you, Brad. I was very surprised because Hedge had gone forward in that race in Melbourne a couple of starts back and not really finished off. And did finish off last start at Eagle Farm when they rode him back in the field. So I thought it would be a no-brainer that they'd ride him back. But, well, they're smarter than we are. They rode him forward. He never looked like being beaten. He scored by just over a length. And he never looked like, as I said, never looked like being run down. He gave a good kick in the straight and didn't dawdle in front, certainly ran along. So you would have to say, all honours with Hedge. He's been consistent all prep. And those behind him, well, Sofrado ran on okay, but I thought all the others had their chance. That little filly that I like, Fortuneer, did absolutely nothing. So there's nothing in that race behind. Probably the top two I'd be following.
How about the Ipswich Carpet? It was great to see Angela Jones kick home this win, a red wave for Tony and Matty Sears.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we could have landed the trifecta. $17, $17 and $18, the first three across the line. And you said, Marty, great to see Ange get the winner. She's rode 2 winners yesterday at Ipswich. And she rode this a treat. I mean, drawn gate 1, she was never probably going to end up anywhere else but on the fence, but she ended up behind the leader. And they sort of just went along in formation until around the 700-metre mark. And then the runs came from the back, and there was quite a few of them, including Luncy's, who was trying to go forward, but he didn't get far, and others, whereas she just had to wait. And once they hit the straight, the run came from off the leader's back, who was Zoom on. And then she quickly took over, and she was too strong to the line, won by half a length. Well, London Banker gave her a run for her money late, or gave Red Wave a run for his money late, but he proved a little bit too strong for Ange, and that was a good result. London Banker, a bit of a return to form there. Encoder kept coming okay. June 45, guys, didn't get much of a crack at them in the straight. May have been the unlucky run. No. Certainly should have finished closer than the 1.6 length margin. Luncy's never travelled at all.
No, race 8 was the time-honoured eyeliner, and this horse is racing out of its skin at the moment, and Rocketing Boy does what he did, and I thought there were a couple of fence if I went quickly early, and what he goes I thought was a little disappointing on face value, given the run of the race on the fence behind the leaders.
Well, he was, and I thought he didn't get a lot of room early in the straight, but when he did, Brad, he was disappointing. He was quite one-paced, I thought, late, and he was dropping back from 1,500 to 1,350. That probably worked against him there, so... Yeah, I'd say he probably had his chance. He goes, the winner at Wits End. This has been a remarkable campaign. He changed owners. I think he was snapped up online, and he changed trainers. At the start of this prep, he ran 4th at the Gold Coast first up, and he's won won second, first, third, 10th two back in the Morton Cup at Eagle Farm, the Group 2. So he was out of his depth a bit there, and then he bounced back yesterday. And that was a really good win because he sat 3 wide, no cover, the entire trip, all the way. So you were half expecting him to turn it up in the straight, but he just kept going and kept giving. Got a feel for Sam Collett, who had the ride on at this end. Unfortunately, she had a fall in race 2, and she couldn't ride for the rest of the day. Ended up in hospital with a sore arm. She's okay, just a sore arm. But, yeah, CJ Graham picked up the ride and got the job done. So all honours to the winner, who just keeps on turning up and just keeps on running well.
And the Gollan family, well, they had a clan, they had a heap of runners in the last. And I tell you what, didn't this get finished like it'd been slung out of a gun? Yeah,
not really good, Brad, when you're on Bezique, that's for sure, who kicked home and hosed. And Ryan Maloney sitting pretty there with about 50 metres to go, and out the corner of my eye, I could see this thing in the Yulong colours starting to warm up down the outside, and I knew it was going to grab me. But, yeah, good win. Ex-Team Snowden, now with Tony Gollan, of course, did win a trial. Pattern is to get back and charge home, and look, the tempo suited. They went out in 34.50 odd and came home in 35.77. So they did run along. Bezique was good on speed. Party for 2 was good on speed. Looking for others. Look, Typhoon Tavi didn't lead, which was surprising. Just copped a bit of a bump at the start, so you can forgive that run from her. But, yeah, the winner's first up, so we'll see him again, I'm sure, or her again.
Her again? Yeah, Extreme Choice Mare. What do you think Extreme Choice stands for at Newgate?
That's a good question, Marty.
275.
That's one for Brad.
275,000.
Wow.
I nearly fell off the chair when I looked that up.
Hey, Chris, a couple of early races. I just wanted to have a quick word with you. Atmosphere was a digital online English sale pickup. That Jack Bruce is doing wonderful things since he's gone out on his own. And I think another horse, a Gollan horse to follow, Rock Ribbed in race 4, put him away with plenty of aplomb.
Yeah, well, Atmosphere was good in the first. Bit of a drift late in the market, but went to the front for Angela Jones and was never going to be caught. A couple of others loomed, but they didn't get there on the line. So when I say was never going to be caught, the margin wasn't great, but got the job done. And the other one you mentioned, Rock Ribbed, had a couple of runs for Tony Gollan last prep. A short spell, I think a short break of only 60-something days. Won a trial recently and was backed like the punters had Sunday's paper, straight from when markets went up. Straight from when they went up on Wednesday, they were into Rock Ribbed, and he had a beautiful run in the race from Blade Jurek, hooked out around the home turn and won. Gee, the second horse there, Affinity Flyer, started $61, had to wait to get over heels, and when over heels ran on quite well, cut the margin to a length. May have been a little bit stiff. Should have finished closer, so maybe one to follow there, Affinity Flyer.
I wish it was stiffer. I didn't have it in my. I wish it was stiffer. I didn't have it in my first 4. I thought.
We've got Tony Gollan coming up on the program too in the second hour. So looking forward to catching up with a great man. He loves training a winner, and he really gets behind all the big carnivals over there, doesn't he? He'll travel anywhere with a big team.
Oh yeah, he'll go anywhere. And we've got Northern Carnivals coming up at Rocky, Mackay, Townsville, etc. And I bet you he'll be going to Rocky. He'll have something marked for Rocky. Don't know if he'll go any further than that, but yeah, he travels around everywhere. And look, if he can travel interstate, he also will. I threw a question at him a while back. He needed to get a horse for the Quokka over there. And he came back to me and said, well, which one am I going to send? And I had no idea what to say, so I cut the end of that conversation pretty short. But
he'd find one.
If he can get a horse, he'll come over.
Well, we had him over here we had him over here with the Boom horses for the Winterbottom 2 years in a row.
That's good, yeah.
Now, what about in race number...
Back in the day.
Yeah, what about race number 3? 3, Cockabrew Express, $91 they bet about this. It started $7.50.
There wouldn't have been much $91 around, Marty. Surely that might have been...
It says here, opening win. I was putting him to wear yesterday and I noted this, 91, and then started $7.50. Obviously there were scratchings which would apply, but it's still a genuine short in. Tell us about this.
It is. Well, led all the way. Went straight to the front, one for Ryan Tyrrell, who we don't see train a lot of winners in town. A horse that is reasonably consistent. Drew a good gate and made the most of it. I thought the second horse, Madame Odette, was good, and I think she is one to follow because she's had the 2 runs back and she copped a bump there at about the 200-metre mark, and that didn't help her momentum. had she not have copped that bump, she would have made it a lot closer. But all honours with the winner, Coco Brew Express, and all honours to the people who might have got the $91, because that's huge.
Yep. And
what about horses to follow, my friend?
Well, only one, because a lot of these horses are sort of having their grand finals, so it's difficult. So I just think out of race 3, Madame Odette, she's only had the 2 runs this time in, so she'll be peaking now, and probably Rock Rib, Brad, fair enough. She's only had the 1 start back this prep as well. So definitely Madame Odette going forward, guys.
well, we'll ask Tony Gollan about both of them for you. Before we get some winners, we got any winners today from you? What about the form? This has come from Chris off the Retrovision text line of Vlad Jurek, the Impaler.
The Impaler. He rode 3 winners yesterday. He was flying until he had that little suspension issue for overuse of the whip. So he missed a few weeks there, and now he's back on deck. He's going really well. So, yeah, he's a massive addition to the jockey ranks up here. He's sort of riding a lot for Tony Gollan and probably made up for the loss of Ben Thompson, who's gone to Hong Kong, of course. So, yeah, Jurek's been great. And Ange Jones got a double, of course, yesterday as well, including the Cup winner, which was terrific.
Townsville today, we got a winner?
Townsville.
Yeah.
Well, short price. Look, the favourites look well placed. So let's just go with this. The first 2 favourites just win. Race 1, number 1, race 2, number 2. And we'll throw them in a multi with race 4, number 7 to place. And I think you'll get just under $5, which I don't think is too bad.
Okay, let's work this out. So race 1, number 1, which is Dance for Me, Randy. Dance for Me, Randy.
Well, so we had to back that. Arthur Randall. We have to be on that. Dance for Me, Randy.
And race 2, number 2, Simple Way. And then we're going race 4, number 7, The Place, which is... Wemyss. Beautifully done.
Yeah.
Where's your break? Where are you going to?
I'm going to Bali to see my son. For a couple of
that's right,
weeks.
yes.
We're going over there.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Can you
until next Friday.
Just enlighten Brad about what the son's doing up there.
He landed a job in a surf camp in hospitality, teaching all sorts of things and looking after the customers. But it's a Scandinavian, Swedish-based surf camp, Brad. And most
sounds all right. Sounds
female.
and change his name by default to Wayan.
And that's why
he doesn't mind. They can call him anything they like.
Yeah, that's why Dad's going up to check on him. Good on you, Chris. Enjoy it.
Checking it out.
Enjoy your time up there.
Guys.
See you, mate.
Chat in a couple of weeks.
There he is. He's a beauty. Chris Nelson always finds us a winner. Quick break. And Racetrack Ralphy comes up next.
Sunday morning, Tab Radio Racing and Sport is turned on. And you are listening to the dulcet tones of Marty Young and Brad Hardie on the Afternoon.
Yes, and Racetrack Ralphy from racetrackralphy.com. Good morning.
Good morning, boys. Just fresh off a dominant win over the Mighty Kangaroos last night. So never in doubt.
Never in doubt.
Hard in mouth stuff there, Ralphie. Don't worry about it. You checked out early, did you?
I certainly did. I tell you, we just very quickly, but we had players' parents there last night. But someone who played a lot of footy against you, Brett Bowie, was there. What a superstar. He was telling me when Plugger Locker kicked 10 goals, 7, the umpires accidentally gave him 3 Brownlow votes.
Oh, that was awesome. Good day's racing yesterday, Ralphie. Really enjoyed that. And it started off and, it seemed to be a very good push for Sneaky Sunrise. I think I got a bit of an opinion of this horse. Pisces travelled a little wide, but had him there to beat, but kicked on strongly, Sneaky.
Yeah, a good tough win. So a lot of this form is going to be, we're going to see again in 2 weeks' time for Flemington Finals Day. It's a really good setup. And the track played really well. The challenge will be it's going to go back to the rail true. So some of those horses that were slingshot wide, they might be disadvantaged. But, yeah, as you said, it was a nice win and they gave it a little freshen up. The theme for the day was Team Hayes. I think you've got one of the boys on later. And what I think they're so good at, and we'll get to a few of them, they keep their horses up and they just stay at a great level. So, this one they gave a freshen up to and it won. I couldn't see Pisces running out the mile, so it's going to be very hard to get beat in the final. Waitley was a nice debut.
This second winner, Born a King, I've never seen one travel, I mentioned it on air yesterday, at the 600, it was going to bolt in, it was sitting back last.
100%. And, Johnny Allen, all the good riders have different quirks. He does err on the side of going back, but on this occasion it just didn't matter. It was just you are a certainty when you were last on the home turn. Really, he had the best form in the last year going into it, because that Mornington win was serious back in September, and it was just a matter of whether he was going to turn up. Well, yeah, absolutely. He was always cruising. And sorry?
No, well, what do we do with him going forward here, Racetrack Ralphy? Because they made a few sort of minor gear changes. They put a pricker on and a few other things. But he carried 3.5 kilos more than the second horse. And it was... I'm just trying to work out where could he go from here. What sort of a horse could he end up?
Well, I'm pretty sure there's a final in 2 weeks' time over a similar distance. So I don't know how... The only logical reason you'd think any of these will turn the table, because Taraman was fairly tough, but don't think he'll improve further. And maybe if we've had a remarkable time weather-wise here, so maybe if the rain gods turn and Farrago comes into it on a heavy track. But yeah, you just got to trust the performance rather than $21, I'd say.
Ralphie, just quick word. Aberfeldy boy always gets tipped, but Merzine, I mean, that's the stablemate to the winner. I know they fancied it had the run of the race and really disappointed, I thought.
Well, I thought that was bizarre, because really at Caulfield he loomed and faded like a horse who, he's an import in his first prep, and his worst run was his most recent. Well, that trend wasn't your friend there, so that was bizarre. And really the Waller stable in Melbourne in the off-season, of course, they haven't got a good record with favourites, and of course then they have the winner at $21. So I'm not knocking him, but I'm just stating statistical facts.
Craig won the third. I did get in touch with you just to see if there was any downside for it, because unfortunately, but there was no. He put it up beyond doubt. He raced nice and handy and was too good.
Well, that's it. And I didn't say doubts. I just said, I didn't want to take the $1.50 after agonisingly missing $4, the previous start. So, I mean, there are times to sit out. But I'll tell you what we did learn, and as you said, not only was it on the speed, but let's compare something here. And this was a real race. They've run faster than Munamek. So I think, Rise at Dawn's got a bit of upside, as in, depth to it. And this horse... beat it fair and square yesterday. It looked more workmanlike rather than turn a foot, but that's why they were flying along. So this is absolutely a stakes horse to come. Maybe not, maybe they tip it out, but it's got really good upside, and Rise of Dawn's got more wins in store for it too.
Okay, Brazen Lady come away to win the fourth for Matty Allott and Joe Bowditch.
Yeah, we'll pick up the pace a bit here. This is just basic mares. They spin the wheel and they take their turn. So they've all had a lot of racing here. Wouldn't be in a hurry to follow any of these.
Crosshaven in the Shane Fleedner up along the inside.
Yeah, change the gear. It wore a bandit's mask yesterday, which was nice. They tricked him. Yeah. That's how good these traders are. They tricked him into winning. Into the final, I would think Who Dares back to 1,200, 1,100, just a bit short for it. I think it's going to be very hard to beat in a couple of weeks.
Flying is the Nick Ryan stable per se, isn't it, Munamek? And as I say, in that race prior, obviously Ranty was very good, and the race before that, Bells Favar was very, very good. He's got the stable flying, Nick Ryan.
I probably should have mentioned Bells Favar too. Yeah, out to a mile, that'll be perfect for her. And yeah, Munamek, if you would have been kicking yourself if you let the weight put you off in the end, it became a super price, didn't it? So it's just airborne, and it's going to be hard to beat the final. Full stop. You wouldn't want to say it can't do it again in 2 weeks' time.
La Ferrari. Tough win. I thought it was going to be in a bit of trouble. Travelled a little wide, but just kept finding, and a good finish off by Mr. Mojo Rising. And Dennis Pagan's horses continue to race well.
Oh, they ever?
Yeah. Makes their own luck. I would think that I assume there's a little ratings final in a couple of weeks' time, because this was a benchmark 84, and I think Lee Farg's going to absolutely peak. So I thought it was half a chance yesterday. I only beaten a length. Of this race, this is the horse to follow, Lee Farg, for sure.
You would have had Dream All Day in for second behind Aztec State in the 8th.
How could you miss it, really? I mean, it was pretty obvious. Well, again, both the two of Pricey's ran the Quinella and ran the trifecta with big odds, but it was dominant Aztec State. Wouldn't be in a hurry to jump off it in 2 weeks' time. But there's a 3-year-old 2,500 and final, and it was dominant. The others are emerging, which was good, but I think it's going to probably win again.
How about Joe Pryde's record when he comes to town?
Yeah, doesn't miss, and Jay Ford's got a terrific record down the straight. You just have to be patient. You have to wait every 18 years, and he pops up again. But the Black Cloud was super, and it's going to be a stakes horse in time, as will Craig. So I suppose they're the two ones for the future. But as far as horses to follow, I would think King of the Castle will be pretty hard to beat into a mile that I didn't mention earlier, and Belle Savoir for sure. But La Fargue is one with a lot of confidence in a similar type of ratings race in a mile.
All right, beautifully done.
Terrific stuff, mate.
Yes, you hang in there for another week, you mighty Melbourne Demons.
Yeah, all 35 of us who went last night stuck fat.
Okay. We'll let you go, Racetrack Ralphy, and talk to you next week.
You, boys. Always good fun.
He's a beauty on the aftermath. Time for a break, and we've got the 7 o'clock news upcoming. Eh?
Terry Bailey wasn't sure. Terry Bailey wasn't sure what the Black Cloud's name was, actually, for most of the race.
The Aftermath, every Sunday morning from 6 o'clock on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
Talk about that. What about Kynan Brown last night, the father-son?
One disposal, one tackle, and one game-saving tackle too. I nearly winced, because I knew you were on him, and I winced when he handballed the ball, the run through the midfield there, the North Melbourne player, and he handballed it to anybody but Larkey. But he handballed to Larkey, and Brown ran him down and turned it over. It was a game-saving tackle, Marty, as they say.
He's got some serious wheels, that young man, and use it to advantage.
What about Archer's kid?
Yeah, he played a really good game there last night. Yep. Come on.
Will Phillips, he tore Oliver a new one. He's way out of form, Oliver. He's way out of whack. And
he is
coming back to haunt. They've only got 7 years. Only got 7 years at $1 million here. They're him. Good luck.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And also they've got Brisbane up at Brisbane next week, so that'll sort them out. Now, off the text line, Wayne Gladstone. Oh no, Wayne of Gladstone, because he was Wayne of Calberry. He's been Wayne of Gero. He's a beauty, Wayne. Laura Kane would be a good wife.
He's living in a van.
That's very, very funny, Brad. Laura Kane would be a good wife. She ticks off on anything that happens. Well, I've got Brad, I went through this on Drive the other day. I think it was Friday. There are so many signs coming out of AFL House at the moment that Andrew Dillon needs to get on the front. Where has he been? We just haven't seen him.
They're having a mare, the whole lot of them, and this is we're not being misogynistic. The clubs are after Laura. They're not enamoured with her at all. And as you say, she's being forced, whether she's got her own ideas or not. They don't want somebody to speak up. They want somebody to be half by Patsy and just do as they're told. And unfortunately, that's what Laura's doing. You know, if she's got any thoughts, you don't know what they are, because it's been drilled into her by above, and this is how you defend everything and all of this sort of stuff. And they've had a shocker, and Andrew Dillon's having a shocker, because anybody can do the TV rights, mate. I mean, that's just a given at this stage.
Yep.
So it's about the rest of the game that's really lamenting right now, including, of course, we want respect for the umpires. We talk about it all the time, but you tell me it's got better over the last 18 months with 4 of them out there.
Well, they ran a poll the other day on another radio station, and they asked that question, and on the X poll, it was 93-7 against. 93-7 against.
And what we're seeing,
percentage-wise, that is. Yep.
At least it touched on it. See, when you've got 4 umpires out there, and as I say, they can only interpret to their best of their ability. Well, the same umpire might have a different read on something. See, what they've asked the umpires to do, and I was really flustered last night, and I was even arguing with my own fellow commentators. I said, no, you got it all wrong. I said, there's no rule change, there's no interpretation change. What they're encouraging the umpires to do is to blow the whistle earlier, so you don't get the sling tackle as we saw last night with Ford.
Yep.
You know, that was ridiculous with the Stephen May one. That should never have happened. No. Once he was trying to take it on, tackled, gone round in a 180, gone. That's it. It's either incorrect disposal holding the ball, or it's a throw-up. One of the two. He went round 720, mate, before he went to the ground, because Ford got frustrated in the end and slung him to the ground. They've got to get better. They've got to get better.
But in the AFL House at the moment, this is what I read on Friday's Drive, is you've got this competitive balance review, which has reared its ugly head. Now, have you ever heard the clubs coming out like they have at the moment with these ambit claims? Before, that would have been dealt with and never got to air. So you've got Mark Evans coming out, pushing the case for Gold Coast and all the others. The changing of interpretations. The umpiring, as you just mentioned it. Fixturing, buys. Teams having 2 buys before a team has 1 buy. The fixturing's ridiculous. Laura Kane, then when she come out and made that defence of the 50-metre or the non-50-metre in the North Melbourne Collingwood game the other day. Like, stop it.
Yeah.
And it just goes on and on. But all along, Andrew Dillon is invisible. Where's he?
Yeah, exactly. And all the clubs are pushing their own agendas, as you say, Marty.
Brad, it started
in his absence.
It started with this one. Everyone had a joke about Michael Porter, being listed as passing away, right?
Mark Twain.
Yep, exactly. But they're the signs that the little things are wrong. They're making mistakes with the little things. So what are they doing with the big things? And I was taught by one of the best businessmen in Australia, and he would jump on anyone making a little mistake, like big time.
Yep.
Because he'd say, if you're making little mistakes, you're making big mistakes, and then I can't trust you with the big deal. And that's a classic. That's a big night for them. It goes Australia-wide. Everyone has a good time, and all of a sudden, what? You got a guy out there who's not dead, but he is dead.
Yeah. That was very poor. Don't worry about that. Carlton were very good. They arrived on Friday night. Geelong look like they're on the wane. Port Adelaide, Kenny's in trouble now. He's got a few weeks to trade his way out of it to make the finals, but if they go out in straight sets, I was at the Hall of Fame the other night, as I said to you, Marty, and talking to a few luminaries from Port. They think the time is up. The Giants, well, they got right out of the ground yesterday against Sydney. They are flying at the moment. Sydney Swans, no doubt about that. And as we said last night, Melbourne very, very fortunate to get over the line against the Kangaroos. So we've got two more games today. Looking forward to your boys taking on the West Coast Eagles. So you could put yourself a bit of a split between the top four and the bottom four of the eight. And Fremantle need to bounce back. Gold Coast need to win on the road. Fremantle don't want to stump up what they did last week. Otherwise, they might get caught. But, I think just marginally home ground advantage for Fremantle today sees Essendon and Fremantle win.
Okay, you talk about people in form. What about this man?
Going forward but wide, then Typhoon Tavi, Crazy Trade, Lady of Luxury, Junquera, Wallaby and Jaja Chabugi. Hem the straight, 250 left to run. Party for two in the lead. Bazika's laying down the law strongly. Black on Beauty getting up on the inside, and they're clear of Blue Spadell. Party for two with something to offer. Bazika's going with it, stride for stride. Then Black on Beauty, and what's this rattling home? Wallaby, look at Wallaby from the clouds, burst home at one. Big Bazika, Party for two. Grey River Fly.
Tony Gollan trains Wallumbay. He joins us here on the Aftermath. A very good morning, Tony.
Yeah, good morning, guys.
How you doing?
I'm well.
Another successful day there at Ipswich.
Yeah, it was a great day at Ipswich. It's always a fun part of the carnival there. Big crowd, and it was a good track and a nice day. So it's good to get a couple of winners.
Tony Brad, Hardie, congratulations. Wallumbay, what a win. I thought I was watching the old movie Rollerball with the old slingshot down the outside. You haven't had this horse long, but wow.
Yeah, she was amazing, wasn't she? I mean, it always looked as though a race with a lot of pressure on it, that something could come from the second half. It was pretty hard to do all day, to come from that far back and win there yesterday. It was very even pitch, and horses really had to get that right run, but She was excellent late. She'd only been a new addition to the stable. Yulong purchased her at the Magic Millions Broodmare sale and decided to keep her in training. And first up for the yard yesterday, she got the job done.
Been a bit of that going on over the last couple of weeks up in Queensland, hasn't it? Horses purchased, the mares from those sales and going on and winning.
Yeah, it's a great part of our carnival, that Magic Millions mare sale. They get a huge big buying bench there, and a lot of these mares in training go there, and then the breeders, a lot of them decide they want to, finish their preparations off or possibly enhance their value. So we're always lucky to get a couple, and we're very fortunate that Yulong will purchase such a nice mare like this and give it to us to train.
Tony, I've seen a bit of your fine work that you do post-race with your jockeys. You get analysis of the runs. I didn't see the one for Ryan Maloney. What did he say to you? Because he didn't do a thing wrong on Bazika. I thought it was home.
Yeah, I think he just felt sorry for her. She's had a lot of bad gates this prep, and she's so tough. She's always up on speed, and they went along with a good gallop, and he knew that, and he knew he was all out late, and he just couldn't believe that she was still there. And then, lo and behold, the stablemate come past so fast at the end. But I think Ryan was just super proud of the effort that Bazika put in, and he was just shocked at how quick the winner come past him.
How about this winner, Rock Ribbed? I like the look of this 6-year-old by Night of Thunder.
Yeah, he's really good. He was shaped up for us. He's only a new addition to the stable as well. He did a really good job his first two runs, and I was just able to back off him, during majority of the carnival to have sort of fresh legs now and into the off season. And I think he's going to be a really nice city class horse. And he can probably get to a better level, probably get the listed or maybe even Group 3 in the summer, something like that. But he's a lovely horse for the off season racing now.
Back to race one. You had 3 seconds on the day as well, or 4 actually.
Yeah.
I see you coming. I see you coming. Tried really valiantly to run down Atmosphere, who just had a little bit, seemed to be not leader bias, but it seemed to fancy on pace runners early in the day anyway.
Yeah, he got a nice run, Atmosphere, didn't he? I come off his back and I probably just wanted the 1200. I knew it was just half a long short for my bloke, but he's come back really good. He'll be another horse to follow through the lower grades and, that lower benchmarks sort of stuff when the carnival goes in a few weeks' time. He'll be a lovely horse for the off-season as well.
Chris Nelson, he told us to follow Madame Odette, who was beaten in race number 3.
Yeah, just to run short. She's got a pretty particular pattern, this mare. She always runs really well second up a mile, and then she's just about spot on third up. So I think she's one to follow. She's probably not going to be any flash price after yesterday's run, but in the right sort of mile to 1800, in 2 or 3 weeks' time, she'll be the right sort of horse.
Yeah, and race 5, Warby did what, Wallenby did. Really, that was always going to be the trick, wasn't it? Getting back and trying to get home.
Yeah, we just had the bad gate, didn't he? He had to sort of come round and he got flushed out on the corner pretty deep. And like you mentioned, on a fairly fair wicket there yesterday, that there was no advantage to be giving ground to horses, and he just had too much work to do in the sprint home. I thought he was good. I know he could sometimes not be the punter's friend, Warby, but I think when you see him on a firm track off a low draw, around that same distance, that same grade, he's going to be something to have your money on.
You're the king of Queensland, Tony. 167.5 winners so far this season. What are your top-line horses we need to be following going forward, with plans into the spring and later this year?
Yeah, I think they're pretty well the obvious horses, really. I think Freedom Rally and Antino are the two are the main ones to go away for the spring. I'm looking forward to taking Freedom Rally away. He's got a really nice racing pattern, and possibly you might even see us play around with a set of blinkers on him. He's fresh off a track record at Eagle Farm last week, so he's going to be a nice horse to take away. Antino, well, he's had one of those sort of preps up and down a bit, and the Stradbroke was a fair one to forget. So look, he'll bounce back in the spring. There's a couple of other nice horses there. You haven't seen a 2-year-old had a couple of runs. Barbie's sister. She'll resume later in July. I think she might be able to have a go at some of those early 3-year-old fillies races in Melbourne. So there's quite a few. We're going to take a good team away this year. For all parts of the spring. You might see a few of these other sprinters go down early in the spring, continue on their winter prep. So we'll just see what we do over the next sort of month or 6 weeks, but we look to have a good contingent away this year.
Tony, we have a great race in the West called the Quokka. Would Antino be something that would interest you if you could get a slot to come over for a Quokka?
I reckon it might be a touch short for Antino. I do see his best trip as a mile, so
okay.
He mightn't be the right sort of horse for that. I'd love to get a horse over to the Quokka. I'm just not sure if I've got one there at the moment that fits that bill.
Tony, always great to have you on board. Thanks for coming on the Aftermath today. Continued success.
Thanks, guys. Have a great Sunday.
There he is, Tony Gollan, absolute star. I can tell you a story.
Oh, yes.
Good mate of mine, Benny Cohen, was over there last week. Get this. On the Thursday night, Benny, Mission Impossible, if you decide to take this task, good luck. He says, can you get me a couple of members' tickets? I'm in Brisbane and want to go to the Stratty on Saturday. I said, oh, yeah, okay. Only one guy I could ring was Gollan. I think he had 16 runners. And he said, yeah, leave it to me. Saturday morning, the tickets arrive on the phone. Big effort.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It's enough to worry about. It's like grand final, isn't it? Like having your team in the grand final. And how many times do you get rung up and say, I only want 2? Oh, sure, no worries. I'll just print them out of red tickets here. That'll be fine. Yeah, no problem.
Now, we've got to keep these Retrovision text lines going. Morning, Marty and Brad. How many AFL clubs may change coaches next season? Is it time for Eagles to rush in and grab Dean Cox? That's from Snoz. Morning, Snoz.
Absolutely. Things are changing. The landscape's changing there. And we spoke during the week how one of the assistant coaches approached Simpson and Gavin Bell and wanted to know about his future. They've got to do that anyway before August, particularly when they're out of contract. And he was said they couldn't give him an answer because they didn't know if they were going to be there themselves, and nor should they be. To be honest, I've been very hard and fast on that, as you know, Marty. Well, look, I don't think it's going to change. So I think the Cats Chris Scott hangs in there for Tasmania. Ken Hinkley's under pressure. Simon Goodwin, if they don't make the 8, would certainly be looked at, I would have thought. Fremantle, if they don't make the 8.
Yeah.
I mean, really, Longmuir's had 5 or 6 years there now and just one turnaround. So, I think at that stage, and of course you've got Matthew Nix at the Adelaide Crows. So, in a nutshell, there's probably 5 or 6 there, and that's a good post by that SMSer because Dean Cox.
That's
look, if Longmire wins it again, so if Longmire wins the flag, well, he's not going to want to give up any time soon. I know there's a handover sort of in good faith, but when is it? We're not sure. It's not like the one at Port Adelaide.
Dangerfield tackle is worth a week. The game is absolutely stuffed. What could he have done differently? They're saying he could have released an arm.
Yeah, or you just watch him. Look, some say he was trying to cradle. I thought he dropped the knees. When you drop the knees, you drop the weight of your body, and that's when Walsh had no control. He already had his arms pinned. He didn't need that weight to just take him to the ground like it did.
Okay, we're taking a break. Coming up next, the all-conquering Hayes team.
The Aftermath, every Sunday morning from 6 o'clock on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
Wider out, Lur Ferrari, Brung King deeper still. Mr. Mojo rising on the fence behind those, looking for a run to Yawana. Lurfwag getting into the clear, running on pretty well. What a deal's wide out. Georgie Get Mad, Two Bay Shore, and on the outside, Lur Ferrari. Mr. Mojo rising at any price, getting through. Plenty of chances. Two Bay Shore and Lur Ferrari. Two Bay Shore joined by Lur Ferrari. Lur Ferrari goes home, I think, just to win. It's a close.
Well, what a day it was for Team Hayes there at Flemington. Brad and JD Hayes joins us right now to talk about it. Very good morning, JD.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Well, that was just one of your 4 winners. Just tell us, let's start with it. La Ferrari, what about the win?
Strong win, being 3 deep on speed, but luckily it wasn't the strongest tempo, so he was able to keep finding, and he's a horse in really, really good form, and when he's up front like that, he's a hard horse to get past, so he's really going to another level this preparation. It was good to post Dove City win.
Yeah, it was a really tough win, JD. Well done. I really liked the one in the first, Sneaky Sunrise. Didn't have all the favours either, but really tough and stuck on well.
Yeah, and I like that she flicked the ears on the line, so I think that was a bit more in the tank too. So it was a good one chasing her from the Godolphin stable as well, so a lot of merit to that win, especially with a little bit of time between runs with the jump out. So she's trotted up beautiful and sound this morning, and I'd say we're on target for 2 weeks' time. She'll lead up a mile.
Okay, goes to the mile. Now, what about in Crosshaven's win in race number 5? He's always been a bit hard to catch. I just went through it. I was talking to Brad off air. I've worked it out. He's had 22 gear changes in his career.
Look, he's the definition of hard to catch, that horse. We've literally tried everything, and you see that we've worked ourselves back to absolutely nothing on him.
Yep.
He's a horse that on his day, he just needs everything to go right, and he loves being held up, but sometimes he springs the gates and puts himself on speed, and he's just he's a frustrating horse to bet on, but he's a lovely horse to own. He's ticked well over the $1 million mark now, and he is a talented galloper. He just needs a few things to go his way, and it all worked out perfectly yesterday.
Well, it did, JD. I mean, and it was even more meritorious because of the fact that he sort of went back to the rail, the inside rail, and really, I mean, most of the straight races have been sort of on the crown or towards the outside, so that gave him more merit to the win, I would have thought.
No, even more merit, and what we did do different, because we were always trying to get the best out of him, because he's not a prolific winner, but he's rock hard fit now. We galloped him once from his last start into this one and introduced a bit of jumping, and that sort of got the old boy's mind in the right zone. So instead of gear changes, we went to how we were training him in the morning, and it seemed to work.
I've been following this Aztec State. I mean, he's a big horse, isn't he? A big, bold, striding horse. He's right in his wheelhouse around the 2,000 metre mark.
Oh, absolutely, and I think he'll be even stronger over further. When you go through his pedigree, he's got Tom Melbourne, Fiorente right there, so he's very well bred. He's tough as nails, and he didn't have a lot go right 2 weeks ago, and it just panned out beautiful yesterday, presenting in the middle of the straight, and he always had a little. You knew he was going to kick at the 200 when the other horse loomed to beat him. He really is an out-and-out stayer.
Stable's absolutely flying. It's airborne. You're winning races everywhere. Was it Was it a plan, a concerted effort to have a strong winter team?
To be honest, it's just how it's shaped up.
Yeah.
The type of horses in form. A lot of these horses in the weekend are on their 8th and 9th runs for their campaign. So it's a testament to the facilities that we have. It's really able to keep horses up for a long time, which is quite financially beneficial for the owners as well, because they are race horses, not spell horses. So if they're competing on their 8th and 9th run, it's always a sign that the facilities are working.
JD, obviously we're only it's nearly the middle of the year, nearly the end of June, so the new season not too far away. Have you got a few babies coming through that you're going to be early runners, and some of the better horses that you've been getting ready for the spring? Are they all ticking over nicely at home?
Yeah, we've got our headline act, Mr. Brightside, in pre-season, building up. He looks fantastic. He looks really healthy. He's put on nice weight over his spell, and a couple of the young horses, we've breezed up a couple, but it is still very, very early days. I think I'm a little bit a month early with that question. I'll know more about this time next month.
So what's the plan for Mr. Brightside?
He'll be kicking off in the Memsey, and most likely head to the Mackay Diva, but wherever that pride of Jenny is, we'll probably zig and zag.
Yeah. Just makes it a bit hard, doesn't it, with her? She just with that racing pattern of hers? Yeah,
it's like the modern-day Vo Rogue.
Yeah.
It doesn't suit us, so I reckon he can mix it with her over 1,400 metres, as he proved first up last preparation.
Yeah.
But once we get to the mile, even especially over 2,000, that rock-hard tempo that she sets and kicks hard off it is a pretty good race tactic. I think it's a pretty hard one to beat.
Yeah, it just sucks the sprint out of him, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. So I thought you said something other than but yes, it just takes him out of his comfort zone. But you're correct, Ed.
Mate, the day I'm having, I might have. Did I? We better go back to the tape. Hey, the runners that you had yesterday, which ones can we look forward to for a fortnight's time?
Sneaky Sunrise, I think, put the big circle round in Aztec State. I think those two horses are going to thrive off 2 weeks between runs and into that final day at Flemington there. I'm hoping that they'll be able to go on with it.
8-race program at Cranbourne today. Interesting runner for me is the one in the last, Desert Star, Michael D aboard, and he came onto the scene with a bit of aplomb, and then he went to Hong Kong and sort of didn't quite hit the heights there, and he's back with you now. How's he travelling?
Really good. We've given him the 3 trials because he's come back from Hong Kong, had a fair bit of time off, and looking through his form, I think he loves a bit of give out of the track, so hopefully Cranbourne can stay in the soft range, which it should, and really, really happy with him. I think he'll be extremely competitive first up.
Now, if you rung Dad up today, racing up there in Sha Tin, our man Jay Rooney from the South China Morning Post has tipped us Mastermind in race 6. Can you give us a lead?
Yeah, we had him in Australia. He was a lovely horse, and Dad reckons he's going to go pretty close. Dad is a very optimistic sort of fella, though. So
sell ice to an Eskimo.
Absolutely, but he thinks it's his best chance for today.
All right, beautifully done. Well done, JD. Thanks for hopping on the phone today.
A little bit on Ruby Lot in the last two.
Oh, Ruby Lot. Okay. You're in the book. Thanks for that.
See ya.
Here's a beauty, JD Hayes. Righto, text line for Retrovision. That's Maud's. And Maud's, if you're listening, Lisa's heading out there to buy a fridge tomorrow, so look after her. There is a good article in Post, a local newspaper in Western Suburbs, regarding Rick Charlesworth as a good option as the next West Coast Eagles next coach. I think it's a great article and maybe a good choice. That's from Sambo.
No. Great coach, not footy.
Oh, well, you've got to read them out. Everyone sends them in.
I'm just summing it up for you. No. Rick's a magnificent Hockey Roos cricket coach. Sometimes it's a specialised field, I think, for different... it'd be like saying Adam Simpson could coach the Kookaburras. Good luck.
Now,
can't coach the Eagles.
We better get an early look at your Sunday saviour.
Yes, we certainly do. Cranbourne Race 4, number 1, resuming for the Mar stable today. Been gelded, Marty, like you should have been some years ago, delivering $3.50. Going to Townsville Race 6, number 8, Lady Damus, $2.20 there. So not one of those shorties that Chris teched us, but it's race 6, number 8. And Kalgoorlie Race 1, number 3, Perori, 3 on the bounce, $1.65. So Cranbourne Race 4, number 1, delivering $3.50. Townsville Race 6, number 8, Lady Damus, $2.20. And Kalgoorlie Race 1, number 3, Perori, $1.65. That's $12.70 for me and Ginger today.
Okay, $12.70. Afghanistan are playing Australia at 8:30 today, Brad. The Afghanistanis are $5 and Australia $1.18. They just get on with the job and win that?
Yeah, I think so. They've been fortunate that when someone's failed, there's been someone else who's stood up. So they'll need to do it. But they've won 8 on the bounce now, so they're going well, the Aussies.
The USA play England. The Americans are $8.50. The English are $1.07.
Yeah, well, they did the upset the other week, but you think that would be winks like odds should win.
Overnight in the Euros, I love this tournament. Portugal 3, Turkey 0, and Belgium bouncing back into form of beating Romania 2-0. We've got Switzerland playing Germany and Scotland are playing Hungary. They're the next 2 games in the group stage of the Euros over there at the moment. What else you got for me over there, Brad? Anything? Any biting around there in Melbourne we should know about?
Oh, look, there's plenty of issues going on in and around all the clubs, to be honest. But the AFL Commission, we spoke about, Andrew Dillon and Laura Kane. Well, the AFL Commission, Richard Gord, is due to stand down. And look, they want somebody who they can control. And a lot of the clubs are putting up names. Jeff Brown from Collingwood's put up Andrew Demetrio. Spare me.
Oh, stop.
Back to the future there. No, that's no good. Luke Sayers has got a fair bit of trouble on his plate as it is. He's the president of Carlton at the moment. So I don't think commercially that's the way to go in that particular world. Andrew Pridham's the one that they want. Now, he's currently the chairman at the Sydney Swans, but he won't want to give it away until at least the end of the year, because here his team is bubbling along beautifully, on target for another premiership. So I think he would that's the one they'd like to take the job. And I think we'll have to wait till the end of the football season to find out if that's the case. So, I think because you're right, with all of those issues that you outlined so beautifully, they need someone in there with a cool head who, one, knows footy, has been in clubland, but also knows the commercial world as well. He suits both.
So when will the chairman or the committee say, hey, how about coming in and having a chat, Andrew? We've got sort of concerns that things may not be really ticking along as perfectly as they should.
They cherry pick him, and this is no disrespect to anybody who's been on or past or present, the bottom or future. But they don't want people to rock the boat.
No.
They didn't want Lee Matthews on there because he would challenge them. We say, hang on a minute. But the commission want to say, we run the game. This is what we want to do. You all fall into line, and this is how we'll implement it. Well, no, that's what I thought that being on a board was part and parcel, like a Treadray at Port Adelaide, for instance. What he wants to do now, he wants to ruffle feathers. He wants to get this club back onto a seemingly better axis, and that's what Lee Matthews would have done. I think Jimmy Bartell was also a candidate for Laura Kane's job. But no. We don't want anybody who's going to push back. We want somebody who's going to do as they're told. And this is the problem. And look, the AFL, this is probably in the top 200 businesses in the country, Marty. This is not it's not a fly-by-night affair, or it's not a part-time hobby. This is a big money establishment. So they need the best people in there, and sometimes the ones at the top don't want anybody better than themselves, just in case they get shown up.
Well, we're talking about big days at the office. Michael Grantham had a beauty yesterday out there at Belmont Park. He joins us right now. G'day, Mickey. How are you?
Good morning, boys. How you going?
We're going well. Not as good as you, though. That was a red-letter day for you yesterday.
That's all right. No, it was a great day, especially Centino winning yesterday. It was a very deserved win for him, and he grounded out towards the end, so that was great. And then, obviously, sentimental hero on the Philly finished it off for us.
Well, a picture Dennis Comedism, that was sentimental perfect, Satino.
Yeah, no, it was, wasn't it?
Just didn't look like it was going to be. It was amazing. It was a terrific effort, and as you say, and sentimental. Well, that was just one out of the box. Didn't it just join in like it was at the 200 and said, "Well, thanks for coming, but I'm now here. I am, and watch me go."
Yeah, no, he linked in really good when Chris gave him full rein, and he's always promised stuff like that for us. But for where he goes now, that's an unknown cause. There's not really many races around for him, unfortunately. So just have to keep playing that one by ear and see what happens.
All right, we'll drill back into both of them in depth in a little bit. But the Belmont Guineas win of Love and War, horse who has joined your stable at first prep after coming across from New Zealand, and you've certainly been able to work this filly out.
Yeah, she come over in really good condition, and obviously come from the farm really well. And Peter's sort of just, when you get him, he doesn't really tell you much. You sort of just got to figure it out for yourself. And he did tell me, he said, I like this one, and just see what we can do. And everything sort of, her timing brought up into these races have been great. And then obviously the 2 trials. So everything's led, and she's just been building and building all the time. So
really pleased for Paddy Carberry too. He's an excellent little rider. There's no doubt about that. But just loomed up at the 200 and just timed it. But went to the line really well. But he didn't knock it around either. Just quietly, sort of was cajoling more than persuasion.
Yeah, no, Pat's obviously got a great association with her, and he's been coming down and riding a bit of work on a Friday morning, and it just all starts from the trials. He had that first trial, and she was a little bit limb, which was fine. We knew what we had, and then she come out that 2 weeks later, and she trialled a lot better. Obviously, he rode a perfect in that first up in that 3-year-old race, and then there was a 12 out of 10 in the graduation, and then a 15 out of 10 yesterday, so you can't ask for much more.
So what's the thoughts with her going forward? Let's start with her.
Yeah, I've spoke to the boss man this morning, and we had a few different equations and what we do, and I guess we're not too deep into our prep anymore, and what's another 2 weeks if she starts to taper off or there's any signs, we'll pull rank on her and she can go to the paddock and hopefully can come back bigger and better, hopefully. But I think at this stage we'll push on in a couple of weeks to the Oaks. And
she just gives she looks to me like, and on her breeding as well, that the 2,000 metres is going to be right up her alley. But the good thing about her, Michael, is that she's one of those fillies or horses that can run close to the pace or just off the pace and then finish the race off strongly.
Yeah, she's obviously got a lot of tactical speed as well. She can, like you said, she jumps the barrier as well, and she just puts herself in a position to win every time. And I think you need that with those sort of horses. And like you said, when she jumps, she just puts herself there and you can shut her off. She's not a over the extravagant sort of horse that will run through the bridle. You can settle her pretty well. She's just basically been a ready-made racehorse from birth, I think. But I don't think the 2,000 is going to be any problem to her. And like you said, she was strong through the line, and she's still learning. See, Pat give her another one on the line and push her all the way to the crossing yesterday, just to make sure that she's still on the job. And he said when they started to come for her again yesterday, she started to pull away. So that's just encouraging.
Well, Michael, let's go back to race 4 with Satino. And, basically, very patient ride by Chris, just allowed it to find its feet and travelled very kindly, albeit at the back of the field, third last, second last, with a bit of cover. And really appreciated a little bit of speed on, particularly mid-race.
No, he did. Even the start before we took the winkers off him was obviously a backup run, and we both sort of spoke. We'll just let him find his feet and basically not look after him, but just let him, work into the race. And we didn't think we could beat Fat Roy Slim as it was, so we thought we were running for second, but we ran third. But he attacked the line well there after the backup, and obviously I left the winkers off again yesterday, and we thought we'd be following Strike Now, which we thought was obviously the one to beat, and we both agreed that we didn't think we could beat it either. But Chris has had Lucy in the pocket the whole race, and had her where he wanted her, and he just ground it out in the end, and it was a very deserved win for him.
So he does look like a horse who just wants to stay, and he's a 4-year-old who's had 19 starts now, so he could just keep going on and picking off these staying races. He's down in the ratings, and you'd be able to build him up again and again. A few preps down the track, you wouldn't know where you could get to with him.
No, that's right, mate. He's going to go for a spell now. I was going to tip him out 2 weeks ago before I backed him up, but he's been here for another month, so tough. He's done a great job. Yep. And he obviously, when he got that swab, a while back, it sort of, had to wait around for him, and the owners are very good in that way, and we just had to keep waiting, and it probably done him the world of good because he got that freshen up at home, but wasn't missing any work. So when he come back out to go back to his maiden, he won that, and then he continued on from there.
Michael, just quickly, I noticed that, even though he did come around them, Chris had the whip in the left hand. Is that a nuance for the horse? We've got one of our own. It's the same. It just prefers the whip in the left hand as opposed to the right. Normally on this left-handed track, so they go for them with the right hand, but this horse is obviously responding to the whip in the left.
Yeah, I think a lot of the boys now, they're all starting to get a little bit fancy and, swap from the left to the right, but I reckon it's... If a rider can use the whip in the left hand, it's definitely another trick to their trade because, 90% of riders, jockeys anywhere, they all carry the whip in the right hand. So when a horse cops a whack on the rump in the left, it's more of another gear. They've never been hitting that side, and I think it shows a little bit more. And, Brad and Pikey and, a lot of them now are they're starting to use the whip in the left, and I reckon that's great.
Yep, certainly is. Sentimental Hero. Now, he interests me, this horse. I was interested, my ears pricked a bit when Lockie asked you the question. Asked Bob, the question about preferred distance. And I just think this is where his sweet spot is, around that mile.
It is, and I think I won... I can't remember if it was the last prep we won a race over a mile when Clint rode him. I can't really remember. It was maybe a couple of preps ago, but he just that long stride on him and his big lumping sort of a horse, and he doesn't look like he goes faster. He's just his stride gets bigger, and I think you're right, mate. I think his pet distance is a mile, but I'd love to stretch him out. I think last prep that was our aim. Some of those country cups and that, and I had a massive virus go through the stable, and it really affected a fair few of them, and we just never got them back to there, and it was just a shame that we never got to see it last time. So it's sort of all up in the air for him this time, but I'd love to get him over a bit of ground because he can settle, and if he can show the turn of foot that he did yesterday, it helps. It goes a long way.
Can I just carry on from that thought and what you just mentioned about the virus going through the stable, because when you're training for Peter's Investments, there's a lot of pressure outwardly and I would guess inwardly, and for a while there the results weren't there. So how difficult was that at that stage, and was the support solid there from Bob?
No, he's great in that aspect because he understands. You have your runs, and when you're on that wave, we've got to keep riding it. And then when that wave crashes, you've got to keep riding and stick to what you know and trust yourself. And he was great through that aspect. We just done a heap of bloods, and they all looked great, but they just weren't performing. And then I found there was a problem with my water, and then a couple of them got Ross River virus, and it just spread through the stable. And he understands. He just that's horses, boy. Just keep going. And we were able just to give a few of them a couple of weeks quiet at home, just no fast work. And then once I got rid of the virus, we picked back up, and it sort of never really looked back from there. But he's not a high-pressure owner at all. He talks to me a lot, and we bounce a lot of ideas off each other. And he's I always think to it, he's always someone's grandson and someone's father, so he treats me the same, I think.
Well done.
Anything to follow in the next 7 days, Michael?
You know what? There's one I'm taking to Northern, that a Bissy. He's in a maiden mile, and that horse of Grant Alana's Patchouli or Patchouli, whatever it's called. It ran second to Love and War yesterday, so the pressure might be on him going to a mile maiden on Thursday.
Yeah, okay, and Love and War form had been Frank 2 with Wonder Weapon, hadn't it? You'd beaten it, and it had come out and won, so maybe all that form...
well yesterday.
Yeah, all works around each other. Michael, fantastic. Thanks for coming on the program. Loved the chat, and continued success going forward.
No, anytime. Thank you very much.
Young man going places, Brad. I think you'd agree with that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%. No, I was just interested because Honey Julep enjoys the whip in the left hand, and Chrissy found him there yesterday, and back-to-back winners had the whip in the left hand. I thought, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's very good to be ambidextrous. There's no doubt about that, because some horses have these different quirks.
Oh, it just should be a prerequisite. They should be getting taught that right from the start at the apprentices school. One thing about UK European jockeys, they switch it for fun. And it's not just left to right. They'll go left, right, then back into the left and back into the right, all in the space of 2 furlongs. You see it all the time.
Yeah.
Half the time you don't even see them do it, Brad. They're that quick.
This is it. No, exactly. This is how good these little guys are, and how we know how dangerous it is. But just think about it, Marty, when you're going as fast as they are and, 50, 60 kilometres an hour, and all of a sudden you're trying to change your hand. And a lot of the times before in the past, you would have seen jockeys struggle to change hands. The horse gets caught in the mane or it all gets tangled up and it doesn't work. But, no, the jockeys, it's a very special skill set to have, and good on them. They're fantastic at it.
Okay, get those Sunday saviours in. You've got an hour and 10 minutes. Racing Rewind coming up after 8 o'clock. Tash Faithful's about to join us because she was in wonderful form up at Port Hedland yesterday and goes to Goldfields today. G'day, Tash.
Good morning, Marty. Good morning, Brad. How are you?
We're going well. It was a
How are you going? More to the point.
Yes.
Oh, very well. Feeling actually pretty fresh this morning, surprisingly. So, keen to get to Kalgoorlie.
So whereabouts are you right now?
On the way to the airport.
Okay, so you flew back last night from Port Hedland, obviously. What time did you get in?
What time did we get in? About 9:30 last night.
Yeah. Good day at the office, back there and riding 4 winners?
Absolutely. Very good day, and very rapt for Tim O'Pike. He had his first treble, so congratulations to him. He's doing a wonderful job with his horses, and good to ride a winner for Kochi as well. He's a really lovely person, and I think he's going to have a lot of fun with that horse heading towards the Cup. So,
well, again, congratulations for yesterday, Tash. But you could have put the queue of the rack today. Just a lazy 7 rides today.
I like to keep myself under pressure. I work well that way. So.
Fantastic. Now we know you had a little bit of a tumble a few weeks ago. Everything's okay. You come through that all right?
Yeah. I bounced back very quickly, and I'm just very thankful and very lucky. Lucky I'm still half young and got a bit of energy about me, so bounced back pretty well. And had a bit of a headache for a couple of days and a little bit body sore and whatnot. But great result considering how badly it could have been. So just very thankful.
And just before we have a look at your rides at Kalgoorlie, you mentioned Port Hedland and getting up there and riding the 4 winners for the crew. Troy Morrissey's doing a terrific job up there. Owner of that last winner in the last, Adar Rock.
Oh, he'd be very happy then.
Yeah, he was extremely. Sent a text down and said, well, he did tip it on the program on Friday, but he said the horse can win a few more up there as well.
Yeah, definitely. He's probably going to get a few points for that, but he's not too highly rated, and once he steps up to the open class, he'll drop right down in the weights again, and you think the further he goes, he's only going to improve. So for him to win that well over 1,600, you just think that as soon as he gets up to further, he's raced over 22 in Belmont and whatnot, so I'm sure he's just going to be perfect for the Cup.
Well, let's fly through them today. You've got 7 rides, as we said, on the card at Kalgoorlie, and you've got a great association with the Fernie Camp, along with many other stables, of course, but Celestial Fox kicks us off in race 1.
Yeah, I think she's going to really appreciate the drop right down to 54. She was a bit unlucky the other day. She sort of, Chanel got held up on her a little bit on the inside there. Obviously, the favourite's going to be pretty hard to run down, but it wouldn't surprise me if she's chasing it pretty hard. She's actually quite a nice little horse.
Okay, race number 2, you're riding a Weem Away for Brett Jurek.
Yeah, I think that he's drawn well and probably get a little bit of cover today. He sort of led the other day and wanted to sort of look around a little bit, but he wasn't far away, so you think from a nice draw he should be right there again today.
Race 3 on a maiden Epaulet filly, Let Sparks Fly. I love the name.
Yeah, she's going well. I probably rode her upside down last start. We tried to ride her forward and I didn't really suit her. I think from that barrier today we'll probably just try and ride a little bit quieter, get a bit of cover and see if she can have a bit more of a turn of foot today.
Thinking this could be your best in race 4, Secret of Type, but is drawn a little wide, a little awkward.
She has, but it's not too bad for her because she generally settles to the second half of the field. She's a really lovely horse. I trialled her up there, I think the first meeting, and I said to Pete, she feels like one that the further she goes, the better she'll get. So, but yeah, I really like her. I have a lot of time for her, and I think she'll be hard to beat today.
Top rate in race 5, Dance of Thunder. Loves Kalgoorlie.
Yeah, and he's just the most beautiful horse. Obviously very flashy and very lovely to look at, and he just tries very hard. He's an absolute ripper. Obviously got to carry the 60 kilos today, but back on top of the track a little bit, he didn't really suit the soft surface the other day, so hopefully he can be back to his best.
Been driving around in the red Cadillac in race number 6.
Yes, similar thing. Didn't really suit the soft track. I think that back to a bit of a firmer surface. Pete would have freshened her back in distance, but she would have had a freshen up, and she's raced really well, first and second up over the 1400. So I'm sure she'll be racing well again today.
And Brazen Empress in the last, coming off a maiden win 2 starts ago, and raced well again last time in a Class 2.
Yeah, I think the 1400 would really suit her today. She was a little bit, just got left a bit flat-footed when I won on her first up and looked a little bit similar second up, so I think the 1400 is really going to suit her today.
So how is grumpy old Pete going? He's up there, he's trained 28 winners for the season. Is he smiling at all and cracking jokes, or still old grumpy Pete?
Yeah, he's a little bit like a fine wine. He seems to be getting a bit better with age. He's a bit like my old boss, Steve Wolf. They seem to be getting a bit soft in their old age. So it's making my job easier every season, I think. They're starting to get a bit easier to work with.
Jeez, you are the rose between two thorns there, that is for sure. Wolfie and Ferdy.
We know you can't tip, but what do you feel is maybe possibly your best today?
I'd have to say, obviously, she's a favourite, but I think Secret Attire will be really hard to beat today.
All the best up there, Tash. Yeah. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, she's a ripper and just continues to churn those winners out, Brad. Wow.
Oh, yeah, she's fabulous. I love backing her at Cal, and I love backing her everywhere, to be honest. Albany, I love when she's down there too. So, yeah, she is one out of the box. And that's, as I say, the harder you work, the luckier you get, Marty, as they say.
Yep, that is for sure. So talk about luck. How about the Sunday saviour for Bradley Hardie?
Yeah, just go back through it one more time. Cranbourne race 4, number 1, Delivering's been gelded, coming out. I think it'll be winning at $3.50. Townsville race 6, number 8, Lady Damus, $2.20. Kalgoorlie race 1, number 3, Perori, $1.65. 3 on the bounce, Fred. Hopefully, $12.70, Marty, for me and Ginger May.
Okay, we're a couple of minutes away from the news at 8 o'clock. What do we expect out of these 2 matches today? First game, Essendon v West Coast, from a West Coast perspective.
I'm surprised. I'm gone with 4 forwards. I mean, seriously, under the roof at Marvel. I mean, who's he trying to kid? I mean, you know, we spoke about Hutchison being included after a really, really short stanza with the club. You know, we got Sheed out injured, drop gaff. Geez, a few of those boys must be a little bit disillusioned that they're not being thought about or got. I think your boys just have to go out with the right mentality, Marty. They can't get caught up in an arm wrestle. Just take them on, outscore them. I think 25 plus is the way to go for your boys. They've got to be better than a goal a quarter than West Coast, surely, if you're a top 4 side or aspirant to be a top 4 side. And later today, Fremantle, as I say, they've got to get back on the horse. Got a bit of a clip from the coach during the week. It'll be interesting to see how that becomes. A little bit of unrest about Brayshaw, I'm hearing, so we'll see what happens. He's been out of the middle.
From what angle?
Oh, a few murmurs that he's not that really enchanted with being out of the middle as much. He's playing a little bit more forward and high half forward, so we'll keep an eye on that one. And it's high time for Fife and Co to get really back into some form, some real decent form. I would have thought. So
does Hardwick?
Otherwise, that could be a scare.
Does Hardwick adopt similar tactics and try and curtail that run out of the back line?
Has to break it down. Pearce is pretty much a bit of a lockdown, but can run off. Luke Ryan's the P. Him and Geordie Clark, they combine. As we saw in in Alice Springs, 54 uncontested disposals between them up there. Well, they didn't get that leeway last week. That's for sure. So, I think there's no doubt Hardwick's got the blueprint. It's whether they can execute it. Both midfields very good. Raoul Anderson, Tuke Miller can easily match Fremantle. It's going to be happening. What's going to be happening forward of the centre for each team. That's going to be the deciding factor of the game today.
Just a little bit of money for Gold Coast this morning. They go into $3.10 from $3.15. Dockers go to $1.37, and they just keep backing.
Well, they have to win one away, don't they?
Well, they do.
We've been on that. We said they've won at home, unbeaten at CIO in Darwin. They've got to win some games on the road. We thought they had a chance against St Kilda, came up a little short. And this is another live chance. Not saying they will, but this is another live chance for them to get that much-needed win on the road to crack that ceiling to be, bottom of the 8 contender.
Brad, for Loans 1, 2, 3 and Retrovision, thank you very much.
Absolute beauty, Morts, and the new nut. He can do things the banks can't, Marty.